the 10x summer opportunity most people are about to miss. Right now, while you're reading this, there's a 90-day window sitting wide open, and almost nobody's going to use it. I'm not talking about a vacation. I'm not talking about relaxing by the pool with a drink in your hand. I'm talking about the single biggest gap most people get all year to actually change their life. And they're going to blow it watching Netflix and telling themselves they'll start in the fall. I've built businesses from nothing. I've sat in rooms with nothing but an idea and a whiteboard. I've sold companies for billions of dollars. And I can tell you right now, without a doubt, every single big win I ever had started in a stretch of time, just like this one, when everybody else checked out and I didn't. Summer isn't a break. Summer is a head start. While your competition is slow, distracted, and lazy, you get to move. You get to build while nobody's watching. And the people who figure that out this year are going to be so far ahead by September that nobody else will even be able to catch up. Not because they're smarter, not because they got lucky, just because they moved when everyone else sat still. So if you're serious, and I mean actually serious, not all think about it serious, about not wasting the next 3 months of your life, stay with me, because I'm about to show you exactly what that opportunity is, why almost nobody sees it, and how to grab it before it's gone. Before I go any further, I need you to do one thing. Hit subscribe right now before you get distracted and forget. I'm not saying that to pad a number for some algorithm. I'm saying it because what I'm about to break down took me years, a lot of failed businesses, and a lot of expensive mistakes to figure out, and I'm handing it to you for free. This is thousands of dollars worth of business education compressed into the next 20 minutes. If you're not subscribed, you're going to miss the follow-up video where I go even deeper into exactly how to execute this. And that's on you, not me. So subscribe now, and let's get into it. Let's talk about why summer specifically is the unlock here, because most people get this completely backwards. They think summer is a dead time for business. Vacations are happening. Kids are out of school. Everybody's moving slower. So why bother trying to build something? That kind of thinking is exactly why 90% of people never build anything real in their entire lives. Here's the truth. Nobody tells you. Slow season for everyone else is fast season for you, if you actually show up and do the work. Think about it like this. In business, in sports, in anything competitive, you don't win by doing what everyone else does at the exact same time they're doing it. You win by working when they're resting. When I was building my first company, I didn't take summers off. I worked harder in the summer because I knew for a fact my competition was at the lake, at the beach, and checked out mentally, even when they were technically at their desk. Every single person who eventually beat me to a deal beat me because they used the time I wasted. So flip that around for yourself. This summer, while your friends are posting beach pictures and vacation selfies, you could be building the thing that changes your next 5 years. And here's the part that should really wake you up. 3 months sounds short when you say it out loud, but 3 months of focused daily effort is more than enough time to build a real skill, launch a real side income, or start a real business from absolute zero. 90 days. That's it. That's the whole window. Most people wildly overestimate what they can accomplish in a single day, and they wildly underestimate what they can accomplish in 90 of those days stacked back to back, one after another, without quitting. The compounding effect is brutal if you're not using it, and it's beautiful if you are. Every single day you don't start is a day you don't get back ever. The 12-year-olds coding apps and building YouTube channels right now understand that better than most 40-year-olds do, and that should honestly bother you a little bit. So the opportunity itself isn't complicated, it's just uncomfortable. It means working while other people rest. It means showing up on a Saturday morning when your friends are still asleep. That's the whole secret, and almost nobody wants to hear it. Because it's not glamorous, it's not sexy, there's no shortcut hiding inside it. But glamorous doesn't make you money. Consistency does. Boring, repeated, unglamorous consistency is the entire game. Let me tell you something else about that 90-day window, because I don't think people respect it enough. When I started my first real company, selling software out of an apartment I could barely afford, I didn't have some big master plan mapped out on a whiteboard. I had a few months of runway and a decision to make every single morning, work or don't work. Nobody was checking on me. Nobody was going to fire me for sleeping in. That's actually the dangerous part of summer for most people. There's no boss standing over your shoulder forcing you to show up. But that same freedom is exactly why it's a 10x window. Because the people who show up anyway, without anybody forcing them, are the ones who separate themselves from everybody else in a single season. I didn't get lucky in that apartment. I just outworked everybody who had the exact same idea and access to the exact same tools I had. And years later, when I sold that company, people wanted to call it an overnight success. It wasn't overnight. It was thousands of ordinary days, and a lot of them looked exactly like the 90 days sitting in front of you right now. Now let's talk about the mistake almost everybody makes with their summer, and honestly, with their whole approach to money in general. They spend it chasing a job instead of building an asset. And those are two completely different things. A job trades your hours for a paycheck. The second you stop working, the money stops flowing. No exceptions. That's not wealth, that's survival. And there's nothing wrong with survival. You gotta eat, you gotta pay rent, but don't confuse survival with actually building something that lasts. An asset works differently. An asset works for you, even while you're asleep, even while you're on an actual vacation, even when you're not thinking about it at all. It's a skill you can sell over and over to different people. It's a small business you own outright. It's content that keeps bringing in views and customers and revenue long after you originally made it. It's a piece of software, a product, a service, something that doesn't need you standing there, babysitting it every single hour to produce value for somebody. And I've said this 1,000 times on stage, and I'll say it again right here. You don't get rich from your labor alone. You get rich from what you own. Ownership is the whole game. So this summer, instead of just picking up more hours at some job for a few extra bucks, ask yourself a completely different question. What could I build in the next 90 days that keeps paying me long after the summer ends? Maybe it's a skill like coding, video editing, or copywriting that you can freelance out to clients. Maybe it's a small online store selling something specific to a specific audience. Maybe it's a local service you offer that you eventually scale into a real operation with employees. It doesn't have to be some giant Silicon Valley idea with venture capital behind it. Some of the best businesses I've ever personally seen started as somebody solving one small, boring, annoying problem that people were already willing to pay to have solved. The kid down the street who mowed lawns for extra cash and then hired 3 other kids to mow more lawns while he handled scheduling and billing, that kid built more real business skill in one single summer than most people build in 4 years. Sitting in a college classroom, that's not a joke, and I'm not exaggerating for effect. That's just simple math. He learned sales, pricing, hiring, scheduling, and customer service, all before he could legally vote in an election. That's the mindset shift I need you to make right now. Today, before you close this video, stop asking yourself, how do I make some quick money this summer? And start asking, what can I build this summer that keeps making me money long after summer is over? That single question asked honestly is the difference between somebody who's broken every single August for the rest of their life and somebody who habits building real lasting wealth by the time they hit 30. And I want to be honest with you about something else, because people hate hearing this part. Building an asset in 90 days does not mean you'll be rich by Labor Day. It means you'll own something small that's yours, something you can keep improving in October, in December, next spring, and every summer after that. Most people want the payoff before they've even started the work. And that backwards thinking is exactly why they never build anything that lasts longer than a single paycheck. All right? Here's the actual 10x part of this, because I don't throw that number around casually or for shock value. A 10x opportunity means the potential return is wildly, almost unfairly out of proportion to the effort and risk you're putting in right now, while it's still cheap and quiet to get started. Every single 10x opportunity I've ever personally seen in my career looked small and boring at the very beginning. Nobody was clapping for it. Nobody was impressed. Nobody was writing articles about it. That's actually exactly how you know it's real. Because if everybody could already see it clearly, it wouldn't be a 10x opportunity anymore. It would already be priced in, already crowded, already picked over. So where's the actual 10x in summer specifically? It's sitting right in the fact that starting costs are lower right now than almost any other time of the year. And competition for attention is lower too. Attention itself is cheap in the summer because fewer people are creating content or launching products right now, which means the algorithms and the customers out there are hungrier for whatever new thing shows up in front of them. Labor is more available too, because students and young people are actively looking for work or side income during these exact months. And most importantly for you personally, you have more flexible time right now than you're going to have once fall hits, with school schedules, work ramping back up, and everybody's calendar filling up again with obligations. And that combination, low competition, available resources, and a real chunk of open time, that's the entire setup. That's the window I keep talking about. I want you to think about this the exact same way I think about evaluating any business deal that comes across my desk. I'm not looking for the safest possible bet with the least risk. I'm looking for the biggest gap between what something costs me right now, today, and what it could realistically be worth later down the road. Right now, starting a side hustle, learning a genuinely high-income skill, or launching a small product costs you almost nothing but your own time and effort. If you wait until fall to start, that exact same idea costs you more to execute, because now everybody else is back from vacation and jumping into the same space you're trying to enter. The window does not stay open forever, and it never has. It closes the second everyone else notices it too and floods in. So the real 10x move this summer isn't spending weeks trying to pick the theoretically perfect idea out of 100 options. It's picking any reasonable, honest idea and moving on it now. Today, while the field is still wide open and empty, instead of waiting around until it's crowded with everybody else who had the exact same thought 6 weeks too late, I get asked all the time how I pick which opportunities to jump on and which ones to walk away from. It's rarely about the idea itself being brilliant. It's almost always about timing and effort, about whether I'm early to something while it's still unpopular or late to something after everybody else already crowded in and squeeze the value out of it. Summer, right now, this exact stretch of the calendar is one of the few predictable, repeatable windows where you get to be early on purpose every single year if you're willing to actually use it. Here's why most people who hear absolutely everything I just said still won't actually do anything about it. And I want to be blunt with you right now because nobody else in your life is going to be, it's not that they don't have good ideas sitting in their head somewhere, it's that they quit before the idea ever gets a real chance to work. Everybody wants overnight results, and business simply does not work that way, especially not in the first 90 days of anything new. The first few weeks of any new venture are ugly, plain and simple. You're bad at it in the beginning, that's guaranteed. Nobody's buying yet. You feel stupid posting content that nobody's watching, or reaching out to potential customers who ignore you completely or say no. That's not failure. Let me be very clear about that. That's just the tuition you pay up front to get good at anything worthwhile. I've personally launched things that flopped hard in month 1 and then turned into real profitable businesses by month 4, purely because I refused to quit during that ugly early phase. Most people quit exactly there, right before it would have actually started working for them, because they mistake a slow start for a dead end. And those are two completely different things. Speed and reps beat perfection every single time. No exceptions. I would rather you launch something messy and imperfect on day 3 than spend 3 entire weeks obsessing over the perfect logo or the perfect website and never actually launch anything at all. Perfectionism is procrastination. Wearing a nice, respectable outfit so you don't feel bad about it. And the people who actually win this summer are not necessarily the smartest people watching this video right now. They're simply the ones who take what I'm telling you today and go do something with it in the next 24 hours, instead of the next 24 weeks of overthinking and planning and researching. So if you're the type of person who researches for a full month and then never actually starts anything, this is your sign right now to break that exact pattern, because that pattern is the real reason you haven't built anything yet. It's not a lack of talent. It's not bad luck. It's simply a lack of reps, a lack of actually doing the thing. I've sat across the table from people pitching me businesses who clearly worked harder on the pitch deck than they ever worked on getting an actual customer. And I can spot that in about 90 seconds. The deck looks great. The business behind it doesn't exist yet because they were scared of the ugly phase. So they hid in the planning phase instead, where nothing can go wrong because nothing is actually happening yet. Don't be that person this summer. Get ugly, get a few rejections, get some no's, and keep moving anyway. Let me give you some real ordinary examples here, because I don't want you sitting there thinking this kind of thing only works for tech geniuses or people who got lucky breaks. A college student with 0 followers and no real audience started posting short videos teaching one simple skill she picked up in a single semester of school. By the end of that summer, she had a small paid course bringing in a few $1,000s a month, and she kept it running straight through the following school year without missing a beat. A guy who got laid off from a stable corporate job used his sudden free time to learn basic web design from free tutorials. Online, built 3 websites for local small businesses at a cheap rate just to get real portfolio pieces to show. And by September, he had paying clients lined up and quit looking for another traditional job entirely. None of these people were geniuses walking around with some special gift. They were simply consistent for 90 straight days when everybody else around them was inconsistent and distracted. So here's your exact actionable plan. 3 concrete steps starting this week, not next month. Step 1, pick one single skill or service you can realistically learn or start offering within the next 2 weeks. Something people are already actively paying for out there. And don't overthink this decision for days on end. Step 2, get your first paying customer, or your first 100 views, or your first dollar earned within the first 14 days, because real momentum only ever comes from actual movement, never from more planning. Step 3, show up daily, even if it's only for 30 focused minutes for the full 90 days straight, because consistency compounds faster and more reliably than raw talent ever will. That's it. That's the entire 10x summer play laid out for you. It's not complicated. It's just uncomfortable. And uncomfortable is exactly where the real money has always been hiding, waiting for somebody willing to go get it. One more thing before we move on. Don't wait around for permission from anybody. Not from your parents, not from your friends, not from some comment section telling you it won't work. I never waited for permission. And honestly, if I had waited for people to tell me my ideas were good before I started, I'd still be waiting today. Most people around you are not going to understand what you're doing until it's already working. And by the time it's working, it won't matter what they think anymore anyway. So here's my challenge to you, and I want you to actually take this seriously right now, not just nod along quietly and close this video and forget about it by tomorrow morning. In the next 24 hours, I want you to pick the one idea you've been sitting on for weeks or months, the one you keep telling yourself you'll start when things calm down or when I have more time. And I want you to take the first real tangible step on it today. Not Monday, not after you finish binge watching whatever show you're on right now. Today, post the first video, even if it's imperfect message, the first potential customer, even if your hands are shaking. Build the first rough version of whatever it is, ugly edges and all included. 90 days from now, you are either going to be exactly where you are today, sitting with the same excuses, just dressed up in slightly new outfits, or you are going to be somebody who actually used this summer instead of letting the summer use you up and pass you by. I have watched both versions of people my entire career up close in real time, and the only real difference between them every single time was who decided to move first. Drop a comment below with the one specific thing you're starting this week. I genuinely read these, and I want to see exactly who out there is serious about this. Subscribe right now if you haven't already, because I am going to check back in on this exact video in a few months and call out the people who actually followed through on what they said. The opportunity is sitting right here, right now, wide open in front of you, and it is absolutely not going to stay that way for long. Somebody watching this exact video is going to take it seriously, and somebody else is going to close the tab and forget about it. By dinner, 90 days from now, one of you is going to have something real to show for this summer, and the other one is going to be making the same excuse again next June. Only one of you gets to decide which person you're going to be, and that's you, right now, today. Go build something worth building.